UK-based Standard Chartered Bank was the first international bank to move in and open a representative office in Myanmar. However, this is not the first time the bank was present in the country, as the bank had a branch office in Myanmar back in 1862. Myanmar Focus Daily today will look at the strategies of the bank in re-establishing its presence in Myanmar. Okay. After opening, I would say being the first international bank to move into Myanmar and open a representative office, what would be the focus for Standard Chartered Myanmar unit?
Well, in terms of our Myanmar business, we would want to be, first of all, helping all of our multinational customers who are very interested in re-entering into Myanmar to get established there. So the first focus obviously would be to try and support them with research, because it's only a representative office, we're not a branch. Research, marketing materials, information, insight knowledge, just because we're on the ground, we have an office there. And as they become more interested in participating in some of the business opportunities, then we are hoping to help them to also facilitate their entry in by either, like for example, in the telecom industry at the moment, there's a number of licenses that are going to be offered. So there's a big bid that's going on, and we're going to be assisting some of our clients in respect to maybe bid bonds, performance bonds, issuance, etc. So that would be the first step. And then hopefully over time, as Standard Chartered becomes more established through a branch operation, a joint venture or a subsidiary, depending on what the government offers us, then we should be able to offer more on-the-ground support in terms of normal banking facilities.
Okay. For now, what the bank is doing in the country in terms of re-establishing connection with the business circle there?
Oh, well, many things. Well, first of all, I think you have to perhaps be aware of, that many people are not, was that Standard Chartered first established our presence in 1862. And so really, this is our 150th year of 151st year of being in Myanmar. So the first thing that we did, obviously, is to look up some of the old contacts that we had, because we closed our representative office in 2004. And so we've got some knowledge there. Like, for example, it was amazing that our old accountant had all of our financial books and accounting books. So it's to look up the people that we already know in the country. That's number one. And number two is to meet as many of the regulators as possible, the policymakers, just to understand what their direction is of the country, what they actually want to do. And the third area is some of our multinational customers already in there. For example, Thai investors were the largest investors up to recently, now overtaken by the Chinese, obviously, is to meet our customers there and to re-establish that contact. And from there, enlarge our circle of people that we know, because it's a very social country. And so through networking, through sort of introductions from some of our people that we already know there from before, has certainly helped expand the network of people that we know.
Okay. What is the next step for Standard Chartered in building a greater presence in the country? As we know that the central bank law has not been passed yet, and many banks still don't know what to do in terms of joint venture or full branch. What do you think would be best for Standard Chartered in doing business there? A joint venture or a full branch? What do you look for?
Well, for us, I guess we would like to be able to manage and control our presence and our entry into the country. So if you ask us from a capital efficiency perspective, a branch would be the most capital efficient, and it would allow us to control it solely on our own. So that obviously would be the top preference for Standard Chartered. But once again, it has to be balanced with what is available. And at the moment, it looks like the government would like to encourage joint venture banks to be established. And as and when that law is passed, we will look at it as any opportunity that we would look at for any other types of businesses or market entry positions to other countries. The subsidiary route is also very possible for us, because Thailand, for example, is a wholly owned subsidiary. Malaysia is a wholly owned subsidiary. So it's also something that we could look at as and when the ability to do so is there.
Have you looked at any potential the private banks in Myanmar in terms of doing the joint venture with?
Well, we know a number of the private banks, obviously, because one of Standard Chartered's main pillar of business is actually to be a banker of banks. So generally, actually, our rep office there up to about 2004, from 1995 to 2004, which was the second time that we re-entered, did a huge amount of what we call the financial institutions business, which is really banking the banks and helping them to be trading overseas until the sanctions came and disabled us from doing so. So we already do have quite a number of relationships with banks, over there. And so when you're talking about joint venture sort of discussions, I think it's really early days at the moment. I think many of the banks do want other banks to come and help them with capacity building, knowledge transfer, so that they are able to perhaps learn more. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a joint venture in order to be doing that. So there are lots of discussions about how we could be working more together, cooperating more together to help some of these banks, to be improved or increased in their knowledge of international banking.